All right, so this is going to be episode 9, I think, on this ls9. So I'm going to try to get, I hope we can get it hemmed up in this video. We're going to get all the covers on it and all that jazz, work on the head. So hang loose, we'll get into it. All right, so I'm going to get all the block plugs and stuff in first. And then we'll get all that done, and then I got all the covers and the windage tray and all that's in the washer. So that stuff will be done in a minute, and we'll get it out and get the seals and all in that. All right, so the first thing we'll do is put in this front gallery plug. And let's see, we can go ahead and put in we'll put in all these other rigid core plugs. These blocks don't have the big one in the middle like the standard blocks do. Get in there. Yeah, I guess because it has this adapter for the for a cooler, so that's why it don't use the big plug. All right. Yeah, we can't put the rear, so when we do the rear cover, we'll put the barbell in the back. So these two-stage pumps, so you got a pressure side and a suction side, and generally, a lot of dry sump race car stuff is like that. Harley Davidsons are like that. So they're, it's got an external oil tank, and it's bringing everything out of the pan back to an external oil tank. And so ultimately very little is ever in the bottom of the pan and most of this stuff. Whew. And because of the double stack rotors, they aggravating to get on sometimes, because you got to get both stacks lined up to get them to go on. Some are more aggravating than others, but that one was pretty aggravating. And so it feeds like it does have a pickup. There's a little short pickup built into the pan, but it sucks and feeds through the pan itself. So that's how you'll see the gasket when it all gets laid out. The gasket actually lays across the pump and the pan sits on the pump, and that's how it sucks it out of the bottom of the pan. All right, this thing's got a ATI damper on it, and it's a two-piece. It's got a hub, and then the damper goes on top of it. And when we took it apart, it had so much press fit that literally I didn't think we was gonna be able to get it off. I thought we was gonna have to cut it off. But we finally got it off, but it took a lot of doing. So I measured it, and it had just an insane amount of press fit. So I don't know if you can see it, I honed the inside a couple of thousandths and got it down to some reasonable amount of press fit. So, and this crank's got a keyway out here, so my normal old piece of a balancer that I use to locate, I can't use. I need to put a keyway in it, but anyway, so I got to get this hub on there to and even with honing it, it's still got a lot of press fit, a lot more than it needs, I think, but it does got a supercharger, so I didn't want to, I wanted to leave it relatively tight because, it's got to pull a belt, and you don't want it shearing the keyway off. Let me grab a... Dang. And the threads are so deep, my normal balancer installer, you know what? I've got a balancer installer for these things. I'm over here making life complicated. Yeah, I'm having a bad day. I wasn't even thinking. I mean, I know I got one. I use it all the time. And I just don't remember. Don't remember. Alright, so that's nice. We got to get it off the stand so we can hang the rear cover on it and put the barbell in, and then we'll be ready to put the pan on. So hang loose and we'll get it hanging on the crane, and then we'll put the rear cover on it. Alright, so this one had one of these billet barbell jobs in it, so that's what we're gonna put back in there. And then we got our cover with our new gasket and seal. That's a 9. Oh. Okay. Get the right socket here. Alright, so if you need to know, that is the part number for the rear cover gasket. And then Andrew will get it back on the stand, and then we'll be right back. Alright, we're gonna get all these side bolts in. Got to put a little silicone under the head so it don't leak. I got Andrew over on the cam grinder, so I ain't got no cameraman today. Oh. So when I was talking about the pan gasket, and you can see all this up here, this is where the pump, that's where it seals the pump to the pan. We need to pull this pickup out and then inspect behind it and check the O-ring and all that stuff. Yeah, I see a little bit of crap in the screen. Let me go blow it out good, clean it up right quick. Yeah, it wasn't bad. There was just a little old piece of something in there. But we got to blow it out nice. We're gonna get some bolts. Let's see. We'll start on this side. We'll get a head on, and then we'll put the studs in. But before we do all that, we got to put some lifters and some lifter trays in it. So much for lint free. They have lied to me. So I think that there's an issue. Yep. And I don't know why, but the LSA and the ls9 block is not tapped as deep as all the other blocks. So, and then we put inserts in, but we went all the way to the bottom of the hole. So it can't go no deeper. So we're gonna have to, all these bolts has got to stop on them so you don't run out of thread and jack the bolt sideways. So these little nipples, we're gonna have to knock them nipples down to get enough for this to go, because it doesn't quite make it. The threads are sticking out, completely out. So the only solution would be 2 sets of washers, or we got to make the bolt go deeper in the block. So I'm gonna modify all of these bolts so they will go deeper in the block, and then we'll come back and get this system set up. All right, so we had this issue with the LSAs and the ls9s about the head studs not going deep enough in the block. And I've seen online, you know, people's using double washers under the head and all that jazz. So, but I wasn't gonna do that. And a set for this engine, a head stud set for this engine, because the only ones I could find are like ARP 2000. They're just insane money. So when I put the time certs in this block, I drilled the block a little deeper because I thought, well, and it is. So that nipple on the bolt is hitting the bottom of the block. So I drilled the block a little deeper, but what I didn't do is sink the thread insert deeper. So what's happening, hang on. So this is the time cert that I put in the engine, right? And you can see that it's the full length of the threads of the stud. So what's happening, and this is a bad one, but what's happening is it's getting that far. And we got clearance here, but it's hitting the actual body of the stud. So let's walk over here to the lathe, and I'm gonna show you the solution to the problem. So I got the lathe set up. So that solves the issue. And all we done was just took this diameter down to the root diameter of the threads. So we didn't lose any strength to mount anything. And then, so if you come over here, let me grab one that's not been done. So come over here to the block, Andrew. So you can see it doesn't quite, the bottom of the threads don't quite go flush with the top of that cylinder head. And then this one has been done. So it's about 3 threads under the head. So, you know, then we're gonna have a washer and then the nut. So this is plenty to solve the issue. And I mean, I can do a whole set manual in 15, 20 minutes. So it's a lot cheaper than buying them. And again, it doesn't affect the strength of the stud because we didn't reduce the stud diameter, you know. I mean, it's the same diameter as the bottom of the threads. So that's the solution. All right, so we got the push rods came in. So we got them chunked in here. We're gonna lube the tops up. And just a FYI, a lot of these, especially ported heads, the intake rocker bolt is going to break into the port. So we always use, you can use blue Loctite, you can use silicone, but generally we use Loctite thread sealant because this is a lubricant also. So we just put a little bit on the threads like that. So we'll go ahead and do them all. You only need it on the intake side, but we just do them all. That way there ain't no confusion. Did I find out about, I think we're missing one, maybe. I think we're missing one of these. I'm almost positive. So it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Yep, we missing one somewhere. Ta-da. Yep, that's the one we used for mock-up. All right, obviously the straight ones go on the exhaust side. And offset ones go on the intake side. It should be self-explanatory, but the flat on the trunnion goes up and the radius goes down. what I always do, I mean, you don't have to, I don't guess, but the way I do it is I just install the rockers into firing order. That way we're not trying to tighten down the bolt with a cam up on the lift. So I just think it's easier on the threads and all of that. So once you're on top of that center, you can go into firing order and just rotate the crankshaft 90 degrees. So every 90 degrees will be the next cylinder in firing order at TDC. So you can just run right through it. So then obviously the next cylinder is 8. All right, I think that is going to hem up this ls9 deal. Hopefully today or tomorrow the customer is going to pick it up, and hopefully we can get some video of it running. I know there's some oil cooler stuff he's got to deal with and some other things, but it's all together and complete. You know, it ain't perfect, but it turned out a lot better than it could have. So hopefully you enjoyed that series, and there's more coming down the line. So stay tuned. We appreciate you, and see you on the next one.